Hi guys, this is Omer from MMOHut.com, and I'm doing another quick weekly recap of MMO news and announcements for the week ending November 28th. Now I hope you guys all had an awesome Thanksgiving, and as you can see from the video playing in the background, the first piece of news that we're going to take a look at is that Pirates of the Burning Sea will go free to play on November 29th, which is actually tomorrow if you're watching this video the day I put it up. Now the game itself actually announced its intentions to go free to play about a month ago, but they never said exactly when. So now the date is known and it will go free to play on the 29th along with patch 2.1. Now the actual free-to-play version of the game isn't that bad, and I say so because there aren't that many restrictions. Now basically free-to-play users can do anything in the game, but they do have a few restrictions on ship insurance, character slots, economy slots, and a few other little things like that. But they have to purchase premium access missions in the game while paying users to get them for free. But the restrictions again are not nearly that bad. And this trailer playing is actually one of the first official trailers for the game, and yeah, I know the trailer's pretty old. Moving right on along, the next piece of news that came to us on November 22nd is that Vindictus will be launching Episode 4 in early December. Now, Episode 4 is basically just a patch for the game, a content update that raises the level cap to 44 and adds 2 new dungeons, Prairie Entrance and Runes of Sanctity. Sanctity is a pretty cool word. Players can also expect several new skills to be added to the game. Up next guys, on November 22nd, SG Interactive, formerly known as Entrive, announced that Trickster Online will receive a major revamp in late December. Now this should be celebrating the game's 4th anniversary with this major content update. And yes, in case you couldn't tell, the video in the background is a random Korean trailer for the game. Perhaps calling this a major content update though is a bit of a stretch because it makes the game a lot easier for new players. What they wanted to do was make it easier for new players to just jump into the game and figure things out. The one awesome thing about Trickster Online is the game has like 12 stats, so it's pretty easy to get confused. With the update, players can expect more pop-up tutorials and just easier design maps early on. The next bit of news is unfortunately a bit sad. Valkyrie Sky from GameKiss will be shutting down on December 14th, 2010. Now, Valkyrie Sky was a pretty awesome vertical shooter arcade-style MMO. Now, it always sucks to see a free-to-play MMO die, but keep in mind, for every game that dies, there are at least 5 new games to just replace it. Up next guys, on November 23rd, Red Bandit announced that their Audition Online game received a new update which added 10 new songs to the game as well as 100 new clothing items for the game's fashion ball. Now this bit of news is actually much more cheerful than the last one, but then again, any news that covers a dancing game has to be pretty cheerful. Now this isn't exactly a major update, but having 100 new pieces of clothing in the store is actually pretty cool. Next, on November 23rd, Freejack released a new update which added new map, new items, and over 50 achievements. And that's a new map, only one map, singular, new map. Now, if you haven't heard of Freejack, it's a parkour-themed racing MMO. I know what parkour is, but I'm not even sure what the name Freejack even means. But the game itself is pretty cool, and you can see from the official trailer in the background, it's actually a bit different than other racing games. It actually plays a lot like Tails Runner. Now, this update is actually pretty minor, but having 50 new achievements is pretty neat. Next up, why I said next up really slowly, I don't know, but GameKiss will be launching Freestyle Street Basketball through Warp Portal. And if you haven't heard of Warp Portal, it's that new platform that Gravity has been trying to launch, and it's supposed to be a lot like EG Reactor, where you can play a whole bunch of games through one service. Now, if you already play on the GameKiss version, nothing's going to change for you. This whole shenanigans basically means people can play Freestyle Street Basketball through Warp Portal as well as GameKiss, just making the game a bit more popular and more easily accessible. Next up, which is also on November 23rd. There's a lot going on November 23rd. Forsaken World begins Closed Beta Phase 2. Now, Phase 2 for Closed Beta for Forsaken World is supposed to be much more inclusive than the first one. So if you try to get into the first Closed Beta and you couldn't get in, odds are you probably did get into the second one. If you still couldn't get into the Closed Beta, odds are you'll have to wait a bit longer. Now, I think the whole Closed Beta shenanigans is a big mess. I mean, Perfect World basically gave away a whole bunch of beta keys for the game, but the beta keys didn't really do anything, so it's kind of random if you got in or not. But closed beta QQing aside, Phase 2 raises the level cap to 40 and adds several new zones to the game, as well as numerous new professions. 4 new professions actually: Merchant, Detacher, Arms Crafter, and Gear Crafter. Not sure what a Detacher does, I guess he detaches things. On November 25th, guys, 4-Story revealed a brand new kingdom for the game called Broa. Now, a kingdom is basically just a faction. So 4-Story received a major content update pretty recently now, and the new kingdom Broa is apparently made up of members of the other 2 factions in the game called Crackseed and Defugel, who defected to the new kingdom. Now, the 3rd kingdom in the game should basically just spice up the PvP for the game. Now, any song that uses this video and that trailer is pretty awesome. I mean, this song is awesome in the background. But players can also expect new dungeons, weapons, armors, instances, and things of that nature with this update as well. It's not just the 3rd kingdom in the game, there's a lot of other little things that changed as well. This update actually launched on November 25th, so it's already live. Well guys, that's it for news, and for upcoming games this week, we don't really have anything, but Webzen announced 3 new titles which they'll be launching globally in English, and I'll go through those games for this week's Coming Soon section. But keep in mind, none of these games are anywhere near release, and the first game which you're seeing in the background right now is Continent of the Night, and this is an actual PvP gameplay video from the Korean version, and this will actually be launching in North America. This is one of those games that a lot of people kept talking about, but there's been no concrete release date, and no one even announced the game would be ever coming to North America up until now, and the game will be free to play through Webzen. Graphically, the game does look really awesome. Too bad there's no concrete release date yet, and it could be quite a while before it actually releases. The next game that Webzen announced was R2 Reign of Revolution, a PvP-heavy fantasy MMORPG with realistic graphics and varied PvP modes. Now, the gameplay graphics itself looks really nice. You can see in the background, this is a gameplay video for the Korean version of the game. One of the interesting features in the game is that equipment in the game apparently has no level requirements, so that's pretty odd actually. So you have level 1 and full epic gear. The next and last game Webzen announced is Battery Online, which is also called Battle Territory. Now the game is a 3D tactical MMO shooter, and it looks a lot like Alliance of Valiant Arms and many other tactical shooters. And in its core, it kinda is, but graphically the game looks phenomenal. It actually looks a lot nicer than Alliance of Valiant Arms, which has really crisp graphics. Now this game, along with the 2 other games I just mentioned from Webzen, are all already available in South Korea, but the games still have no firm release dates in North America or anywhere else. Now if you want to learn more about any of these 3 games that I just mentioned, you can see the game preview pages on MMOhut.com. Well guys, that's it for Coming Soon, but as for games that just recently launched, the game is War of Angels, and it launched into open beta on November 23rd. With the open beta launch, the game added numerous new quests, new challenges, new weapons and gear, and a bunch of other smaller updates, and oh my god, Flying Turtle is awesome. I should also mention, pretty much every MMORPG is having their own Thanksgiving event, so you definitely want to check those out too. There are way too many of those to list in this video. Well guys, that's it for MMO news and announcements for the week ending November 28th. And if you want to read about any of the headlines I mentioned, just head on over to MMOhut.com/news. Anyway guys, this is Omer, signing off.